What's going on, advocates? Welcome back to another episode of the Black Mental Health Podcast. I'm your host, Reg. Joined today with me is a special guest. And when I mean special this time is she introduced me to introduce me, it's early, introduced me to a new concept that I've seen. I thought was only for women. And were able to give me my first opportunity at a different view in self-care. We'll get into that. But I don't introduce anybody. Kiki, you could introduce and their real name, or if you want Kiki, it's up to you. Introduce yourself to the people and a little bit about what you do.
Alrighty, my name is Kiki. I am a licensed esthetician here in Philadelphia, originally from New York, but Philly is my home. And I have created a business called 387 Grooming that caters to skincare needs for men here in the area. I also have products that you can purchase online, but the business is surrounded by teaching men about self-care, mental health, taking care of themselves. And like Reg said, a lot of men don't even know that facials or the benefits of a facial, taking care of yourself, taking time to do self-care, implementing self-care. And I really wanted to bring that to Philadelphia and to the men who are in my community. And, I'm glad that you were able to come get your first facial. And, our conversations and even just that with my clients is so therapeutic. Like, it's so much more than just a facial, though.
Nah, and I'm glad you said that because I did want to get into that part of it too. That it wasn't just a facial. Like I feel like there was a experience that came with it. It's just like these fast food places that they think they just make sandwiches, but they don't. They got to sell the whole experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like the conversation helped with the process. And before I let you talk about that, I remember, right? It was my first time, right? And you had to get some, I guess, products or materials
Oh,
or something.
yes.
And I panicked because for one, you can explain what the process was, but I panicked because she put this thing over my face and I was left alone by myself. I'm like, you see movies, I'm like, she about to set me up. I'm about to get jammed up. Like, this is how it happened in the movie. This is how they get you. Just talk about what that was. And I don't know. That's some of the fear that probably like men have when it comes to certain things like that.
Yeah. And no, and I think that was an eye-opening moment also for me. Being a new entrepreneur and also just understanding some of the triggers and scenarios and situations that my clients have even maybe been in, and understanding how their mental health could be affected by leaving them in the room by themselves. And so for you at that moment, I actually had placed the LED light over you, and it was just helping to kill bacteria in the skin. And I did step out the room to change the water. And it can be a triggering moment for someone who has anxiety, who is claustrophobic. I always ask if the client is claustrophobic. But dealing also with the Black community, you have to be mindful of things like that. And that was a little mental note that I took that day, that you got to make sure that you even let your clients know, hey, I'm going to step out the room for a minute. Some of my clients are sleeping, so I kind of just don't want to bother them. But if they are not, I have to say, hey, I'm going to step out the room really quick. The door is unlocked, but I will be right back. Because your eyes are closed. You can wake up and be like, hold on, where am I? And, those are some fears. And a lot of times, those fears arise in different situations. And even though I want my business to be a relaxing, vibe where you can come to the studio and it'd be super like just a chill vibe, things arise, you have triggers. And that was one for you.
Nah, nah, and it helped going back to what you were talking about earlier, that you made it comfortable enough for me to even have that trust
Yeah.
to even
Hmm.
say like, you know what, she said she'll be back, it's okay. Whereas if I was with somebody else, that's where we talk about cultural competency and things like that. If it was
Hmm.
somebody else, I probably would have been like, all right, no, I'm not staying, like I'm going, like
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But we had built that trust. Like, where did you get that from, where like adding that therapeutic component, it's already getting a facial is already therapeutic,
Mhm.
but just having those conversations and adding that to it as well.
So I definitely feel as though within the Black community, um, making sure that the environment, and especially dealing with men, you have to make sure that the environment is something comfortable and they feel secure, they feel safe. Um, you kind of go back into the play of how to even get someone to be vulnerable and to talk to a therapist, right? And they have to be comfortable. They have to be able to let those walls down, that will keep them from being as vulnerable and open and transparent. So I wanted to make sure that just even with my language, with the environment, my energy also is really important because for myself, I won't go somewhere if I feel as though the energy is not good. If I feel like I walk into some place and I'm like, there's something about this that just does not sit well with my spirit. And if I feel like that, I'm going to leave. And I won't spend my time there. And I realized that that's going to go for most people of color coming from similar backgrounds. You know, if the vibe ain't right, we leaving, or we're quiet. And I really felt like for men, that was a big key component is to making sure that my space was inviting and that men felt comfortable and safe. Also, just thinking about traditional places, spas, where men go to, or where women go to, it's more geared towards women. Certain the music, the colors, the decor, scents, and things like that are more geared to women who tend to be more open and more vulnerable than men. So I really wanted to make sure that my space was something that men could gravitate to for them.
No, you do a great job of it. And I want to make sure I I condense the version of what you told me and not, put in a vulnerable space. But I know you said it was some conversation that you like men bringing in whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, so you can
yeah.
tell whatever portion of it that you want because I don't want to put the clients at risk.
Oh, yeah. My clients have definitely felt comfortable with telling me about stories of their in their lives. You know, I have clients who, and I love this because I know that this means that they feel like they can trust me. And a part of, trusting is that's very big. To be able to trust the person, whether it be someone romantic or it be someone that you know personally, business wise, whatever. I want my clients to know that they can trust me without giving too much of their business out there. But I have had clients who um, have reached out to me outside of their appointments or during their sessions, which are like an hour, and have been very vulnerable of why they need to seek therapy or not knowing how to go about it, um, the things that they battle, infidelity, past childhood traumas, legal situations, financial situations. um, I have, I don't know if I should say that, never mind. But I have someone who's in a very vulnerable place right now in his life. And I am very surprised that he makes it his business to come and get a facial with me, even though leaving the house jeopardized his freedom.
Yeah.
And uh
No, I was
and
gonna
that to
say
me
you
is
even
like,
told me a story about like someone like a long ago. Again, I want to be respectful of the men that come into the space, but
mhm.
they bring their tool with them to protect them because they
Oh
feel like they
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
go
yeah,
out.
yeah. It is. Yes. And sometimes the security in the building is like, hey, this person, is this your client? And I'm like, he might be a new client. I never seen him before. And he's like, because I seen, he had a strap on him. And I just wanted to make sure, that you felt comfortable with that. And I have noticed, and I do understand, sometimes they try to be discreet as possible, but sometimes it shows. And often I notice that when they come in and they have it on them and it's discreet, once they sense the vibe and the energy in the room, they take it and put it like in their hoodie or
Mm,
in their shoes. Because sometimes I tell my clients, you can take off your shoes and it'll be in their shoe or something. And I'm
mm,
like, that's fine. I totally understand. And I understand in this day, you feel maybe safer with it than without it. And especially going to an environment that you are unfamiliar with, you may tend to feel like I'm a little bit more protected by having it with me. So I get it. Um, I feel as though if the energy with the client is not, if it doesn't feel right with me, regardless if they have it on them or not, I will say like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to do this facial,
mm.
or I'll let security know or something, but no one has come there with any um ill intention, I felt.
Nah, to that point that I wanted to ask, again, with being respectful to our conversations,
Mhm.
you were saying like I was asking like how does it feel like being a woman in a
Oh.
dominate like how do you navigate that?
I'm very business is business. I don't I already knew that that was gonna be something, that would come about with dealing with men. And I've also had to learn that, some men are very new to the feeling of touch from someone that they obviously don't know. And touch in a way, obviously for their face, it's different. And so I even have to be mindful of that with the amount of, pressure and intent of how I massage their face, that it does not give the a romantic vibe. And that's something also that they teach you in school. Mainly because we focus on women, but I always knew I wanted to at some point work with men. And my instructor would always say, you have to always remember dealing with men, um, how you have to approach the situation. And yes, I have had some clients try and shoot their shot. But I'm really respectful to my own personal life and who I choose to deal with, and not interfere work and business things with patients. And I feel like, because I carry myself that way, um, I do gain more respect from men. And so they already get the vibe. They're like, yeah, she's not with it. So they tend to back off.
Nah, and I'm in school learning that now where like even being in the therapy process, how your vulnerability makes you think you're attracted to your therapist,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're
Hmm.
just being in a they're touching on
Yeah.
points that you haven't had really no space to dive into. And then when you
Mhm.
think about self-care, like certain things like massages and
Yeah.
like you said, facials, especially from a woman, it can I don't want to say send mixed signals because that's the wrong framing of it, but it can
Mhm.
make you start to think because a woman is doing it as opposed to a man that it's
Yes.
a different signal that's being portrayed.
Yeah, my friend is funny. The other day, she sent in our group chat. She was getting a massage somewhere, and there was a sign that said, "Please keep your underwear on. No hanky panky."
Mm,
And she was like, "Where am I?" And I said, there are places, so they
mm-hmm,
have to, make sure that everyone is well aware that this is not that environment, and to not, think keep your underwear on because we're not having that type of massage,
mm-hmm.
and to let's keep it professional. And I do have even like women, wives that will say, "Well, can I come?" Sure, you can come sit there, girl. There is a nice little seating area that you can come and sit and watch. Um, because sometimes they do wonder, like, why does she only service men? And it's like, well, why not?
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be something sexual at all. It really can just be for the need of a man understanding, take care of his skin to look good. You feel good, you know? Um, but there's boundaries. And I think we all need to understand boundaries in life and as well, professionally and personally.
Yeah, the first. it was the second time. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
on my third time now coming, but um, my my second time coming was right before my wedding,
Yeah.
and I was like, I gotta go see Kiki to make sure my skin is good, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, um, I gotta bring wifey afterwards. She's like, well, why you ain't bring me when you go? I'm like, I don't think Kiki service woman. Like, that's why I ain't never good. And then I hit you up. And you was like,
Mhm.
yeah, she could come along just for you. Like, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's up.
Yeah, she was of the exception.
Yes, because you told me the how men, or correct me if I'm wrong, how usually a lot of the times how men get involved is their wives set that up for them, or
Mhm.
their
Yeah.
girlfriends do it for them.
Yeah, so Valentine's Day or Valentine's week, I would say I got a lot of appointments, a lot of women just calling to schedule for their significant other, husband, dad, boyfriend, sons, because they're like, oh, well, this is a good time to treat them. And actually, I had a call yesterday. A woman, she and her husband or fiance are getting married in a couple of months, and she had just like questions. Um, and so, yeah, for me, it's so important that women are finding out about my business so that they can say, you know what, let me treat this man because he does X, Y, and Z for our family, for me, for our children. And really, when do I ever get to show him some love? And I'm glad that the women are starting to see that. I initially opened my business June 1st. And I knew that that's like the only month that men that are fathers
Mm-hmm.
are really shown like some love, you know? So it was great. Like starting in June was like perfect because it kicked off like Father's Day. And they were like, oh yeah, like gift certificates, products, whatever it is, because unfortunately that's society says this is really the only time that this man should get some recognition. Um, is if he's a father during the month of
Mm-hmm.
June or that Sunday or whatever day it is. That's it. And I just hate that. I hate that idea. It shouldn't just be because it's a holiday that a person is, shown some love or even acknowledged. Because for women, we get it all. We get isn't today like a holiday also, I
It
think,
is
for women?
Women's International.
There's a holiday today for women, and then there's a whole month. So, I just really felt like there's way too much going on in society that do not look to help men. Um, and so I felt like, you know what? I am going to start this business to show men that there is somewhere for you that's going to cater to your skincare needs. And during that session, you're going to leave with even more than just better, healthier skin. You're going to leave with an affirmation. You're going to leave with a better conversation. And the affirmations were so big. And I love that my clients come prepared with the affirmation to leave for the next person. And it's just something that men need, like, why not? Why not take care of your skin? You know,
Nah,
it's
and
key.
I was going to get right into that too, with the affirmations, but I wanted to bring up, like, for the people who can just give an imagination of what it looks like. So when I came in there, I don't even know if this was the first or the second time, but
Uh-huh.
when I came in there, I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on with my skin, but I know I had something with my nose and that I
Yeah, she had a
needed to
lot of
fix.
build up.
Yes. So
Hmm.
for a first timer that's coming in, to explain to them like some of the process or techniques or what you're looking for when you're providing the facials.
So I always do a consultation, just wanting to check and see what products a client use, if they are using any products, what we need to focus on, and most likely getting a sense of what the client is not doing for their skin. So therefore I can implement that into that service and as well as give them some other products or suggestions on what they need to do next or follow up with another appointment so that we can get the skin into a really healthy place. And especially for you, we were trying to get get ready for your wedding. And it was like, okay, this is coming up. We don't want to wait till wedding day to try and combat the buildup. But you had a lot of pustules and blackheads on your nose. And the treatment that I was doing there was a customized mask. So I was mixing a little bit of a charcoal mask with a hydration mask to get your skin, it kind of breaks down the impurities, but also adds some hydration to your skin. And that was also because of the products that you were using, you know, wasn't giving you healthy, glowing skin. So we needed to incorporate a little bit of both, get your skin right.
What?
So, each client, go ahead, sorry.
No. Go ahead, because I was going to ask you about the affirmations, but you can go. Each client.
Oh, so each client, yeah, they have, everyone has a different skin type. And so being able to, during that consultation, figure out what's best for the client, what's best for their skin, and ultimately like what they want to achieve is how we go about the appointment. Pretty much.
And then for the affirmations, which next time I come, I'm going to have one ready.
Yes, have one ready.
So that way I can really leave something on. That was one of the first times I've had that happen. For one, that was an experience that I wasn't even thinking about. And for two, like, look at so what was the thinking behind the affirmations? Like, why did you want that to happen? Again, an experience, not just a facial.
So I really felt as though, how could I bring my clients together without them actually meeting, and thinking about a way to give you something to take home with you that has maybe more of a lasting impression, as well as a lasting effect of your service. And, I really felt as though men needed to be encouraged, and be encouraged by someone who they don't even know. And so I created this affirmation jar, and I have each client after the service, they take an affirmation out the jar, and then they, whatever it is, it's written by someone else. I do take a picture of it because I like to post them as a daily affirmation in my stories. And then they write one and they put it in the jar, and I don't see it because I like it to go from one man's eyes to the next man's eyes. And it's crazy how the universe works, because almost every single time, if I've had a conversation with a client, or if they were not sleeping, that whatever we spoke about during their session somehow is affirmed by that affirmation that they choose. And it is almost like, for me, it's so gratifying to see that, because I'm like, look at God, look at the universe really working and solidifying that whatever battles, whatever struggles, whatever situations that I just spoke to the client about while on the table getting his facial, it's affirmed by this affirmation that he chooses. So I don't know, I never know what they're gonna pick, but for whatever reason, those affirmations come out, they pick one, and it's always like head on. I know it was right before Valentine's Day, actually. A woman, actually, she scheduled for her boyfriend, it was his first facial. I think he's maybe early 50s. And she scheduled for him. He came in, great conversation. He was so nice. And he picked the affirmation out, and it said, I think I posted it on Valentine's Day, and it said, go home and love on that woman, or something like that. And and then when he looked at it, and I was like, okay, so is it a good affirmation? Does it resonate with you? And he was like, man, this is spot on. Like, this is exactly what I needed to read. And then he showed me, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Because like, we just talked about his girlfriend. We just talked about past relationships that he had, and how this relationship was like so different, and he was really at peace with her and happy. And he said, it's funny because tonight, he's like, I'm actually going, we're doing like a whole date tonight, that we're going to do some, it was like a Valentine's Day concert somewhere in the city. And he was taking her, like an old school concert. And he said, yeah, I'm taking her. And I got a whole bunch of little surprises that I'm gonna put together for her. And he was like, I'm gonna show her this too. And I said, she gonna be over the moon with the fact that she sent you here and get this affirmation and that you guys have this whole date night plans. He was like, nah, she's gonna love this. And I said, I'm just so glad that his experience, with 387 grooming was more than he even expected it to be. Like, he could have gone somewhere else and it just been like, okay, facial, buy these products. Thank you, sir. That's it. But it had a more of a lasting meaning. And I really appreciate that. So
it's funny because I just remembered that you had a chance to meet my wife, and she was like,
yeah.
yo, I got a chance to talk to Kiki, and she was like, y'all was busting it up like y'all known each other for years.
Yep.
She was like,
We
yeah,
were.
I'm so happy I got a chance to meet her. So I just thought about that just now. I'm like, oh shoot, you got to meet her.
Yeah, yep, I did. Because we talked, well, remember your first appointment, you had so much going on. I was like, the car situation.
Yes, I'm locked
Yeah.
up. I finally got that fixed, by the way, too.
Good. Oh, I'm like, wait, you just gonna leave your car outside unlocked like this? You're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, this is North Philly, but if you feel comfortable with it, that's fine. But no, it was so many things that even prior to, you being able to come in, that even allowed us to build a rapport prior to even meeting in person. And I think even you had to reschedule at one time also. Yes. And then so when I met her, it was just like, oh, this is his beautiful wife that, for who he's about to marry. But I also, I was following Blackman Hill for a minute, and it was actually nice to meet people that were behind the scenes also. And of course, I love what they're doing now.
Yes.
With
Yes.
their
You gotta send me an ad for the podcast too for 387 now that you got products online, because that's the one thing I asked you. Actually, let me pull it up. That's one thing I asked you, like, you got any products that I could buy?
Oh, back then I don't think I did.
Nope.
Yeah, back then I didn't know. It was a conversation I had in June around Father's Day. Yes, that's my beautiful website. My friend actually did that for me. She's amazing. Yes, I now have products. So that's my beard line, the wash, a conditioner. And I named the products after really influential men in my life, which is Sims is my nephew's last name. He and his father are really, obviously their family. Bass is one of my great friends. He's an artist, and he actually just had a collaboration with Forever 21 during Black History Month. And so I really wanted to just give some or pay some homage, I guess, and show my love and respect for them and what they've done for me throughout my journey. So yeah, I named my products after influential men. But yes, we have beard products, cleanser, moisturizers, conditioners for the beard, a balm, growth oil, we have combs. And then for the skin, we now have a wash, we have a moisturizer, and we have an exfoliator that's coming out.
Oh yeah. Those two. You about to get all mine. I need a package deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I realized that so many clients were coming in, they had no idea what products they should use
at all.
And that was a part of, not trying to just sell them something, but it was like, okay, I can't do a facial for you and then expect you to just go home and say, well, I'm going to continue to use this Dove soap in the shower or this Irish Spring soap in the shower and expect to have healthy skin by using these products, not exfoliating, not moisturizing. And I had to teach my clients a part of it. And where else are you going to learn this? Who else is going to teach you? I had a client actually come last week. He's maybe 25, and we were removing ingrown hairs. And I was asking him about how he shaves. And he told me that he uses a clipper. And I said, okay, cool. Don't use a razor. And he's like, yeah, I don't know how to shave anyway. And I was like, what you mean you don't know how to shave? And he was like, there was no one to teach me. And I was like, okay. This is another level of opening up the box of understanding some, struggles that men are going through, or have to experience, that they may not have had someone at home to teach them how to shave. And and I said to him, I said, I'm sorry that I don't know how to teach you, because though you're coming to me for the removal of the ingrown hairs, and I'm telling you how to treat them and how to prevent them, I can't really teach you um, how to shave, and which is a part of treating them. And I said, I did hear about this YouTube page, and I think it's called Dad Teach Me. Yeah, it's
Mm.
called Dad Teach Me. And it's from a Caucasian man, but he came up with the idea because I think he realized there were so many men, including himself, that had grown up without a male figure in the home, or someone that was an influence in his life. And so he created this YouTube page that teaches men of all ages different things, that I guess in a traditional home setting, a father would teach his son. And so I sent the client the YouTube video, and I said, I know it's a white man and you may not feel like, gravitate to him, but I said, but don't look at it from that standpoint. Look at it from the point of one man trying to encourage and teach and educate another man. And this is good for you. It's not taking away from your life. It's actually going to add to your life. And I said, you can become a father soon. And if you become a father, are you just going to say, well, I still don't know how to shave, so I can't teach my son how to shave neither? You can use this YouTube video to educate you on things that you did not get growing up, no matter who's teaching it. And so he said, I'm gonna definitely watch it. I'm gonna, take heed to maybe some other things that the guy had on there, on his page. But it was beautiful to even know that there's someone out there creating a platform to teach other men how to do things, that maybe their father had not taught them, or that continues to teach them
But we gonna talk more in depth on it off air. But I
now.
feel like that's a
Okay.
that's a lane for you, like to like
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lane. That's a lane. And so we'll talk about it later. But because like myself, I learned how to tie a tie off of YouTube. Like no one
Yeah.
ever set me down to like tie a tie, and I only know how to tie one type of tie too. Like I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was like 50 million ways you can
Oh,
tie a
see?
tie.
Yeah. So you like, you better make sure it's that one tie,
That's
because
it.
that's the only one I know how to tie.
and, and to your point, like I got two sons, and a
Mhm.
lot of the grooming techniques, and I'm looking at one of my facial things now that I have not opened since I seen you. I didn't. I can't pass them down something that I don't have, or it's hard for me
Yeah.
to pass them down something that I don't have.
Yeah.
And my question to you is for those single moms that are raising young boys that need to get them in the mind state of grooming themselves uh in a way that will be conducive long term. Like, what would you say to a mom that they want their sons to get facials? I know you say YouTube, but what can they do to start the process on their end?
So I definitely, incorporated a young king facial. That's what I call it.
Really, I
For
didn't know that.
Yeah, for guys, young men ages 12 to 17.
Okay.
And that one's $50. So it's a little bit more reasonable for mom, also, or dad, whoever is, raising the child or wants to bring the child in. I have actually had a teenager who works at Chick-fil-A. So he's in high school, and I think he's a senior, and he came on his own. He booked it himself. I have a couple actually that have done that.
Wow.
Took the bus and came down there and saw me by themselves.
Wow.
And for those mothers, I do feel, mothers or fathers, I do feel as though, you know, whatever you don't know or you are not an expert in, for your child that is you definitely want to reach out to someone, find Google, whatever it is that, you need to learn so that you can educate your child so that you're not so that your child doesn't lose out on those things just because the parent wasn't educated themselves. And
Mm,
so, by doing facials for young men, and I post it and I talk about it often with women who call for their husbands, um, I'm always, open with them. Don't forget about your sons. I have two godsons, one who's 4 and one who's 15. And I thought about them when I started my business. I thought about, well, let's not only make it for adult men, let's also make it for young guys too, because that's where it's all going to start. I have some clients who are 60, 70 years old, and they're like, oh yeah, I just been using coconut oil or Vaseline and like antibacterial soap. And I'm like, you cannot use that on your face.
mm,
But for them, it's like it's been working. That's all they knew. And so I always say we have to keep ourselves educated. Um, I'm not a mother yet, but I always say that whatever I don't know, I have to become educated in to better my children's life. And like you with learning how to, learning how to put on a tie. You're going to do the same thing that you learned on YouTube when you teach your sons,
mm.
and you might have to figure out the other ways to learn the tie, the tie also, just in case they come home with one of those other ones that you're like, well, son,
He has one
YouTube
right
for.
now that he go to private school where it's the
Oh,
strap
see?
on the back of it that is like a
Mhm,
pre-made tie. I don't know how to work that thing. Like, and I'm but the vulnerability is he's been doing this school for 2 years now, and I still have
mhm.
yet to learn. I'll just make a little tie in the back so it stay up, and
Yeah.
then that's it. But it's the uncomfortability of the vulnerability of wanting to
Mhm.
learn that and feeling almost like incapable or like ashamed that you don't know it.
I really do even love that when my clients come in, especially like men in their maybe early 20s or teenagers, and they think like, you know what, I saw this, I want to experience, I saw this on Instagram and I really want to experience a facial. I've never had one before and it looks so relaxing, but I also want my skin to look good. And so, and I'm all for it. I'm all for like educating because I want you to, my motto is that, if you look good, you feel good. And, you don't see billionaires taking care of themselves and then going out and doing something that would potentially put them in jail or put them in the ground dead.
Mm,
Like, and a lot of times within just urban culture, they look at people like Diddy, they look at Jay-Z, right? Millionaires.
mhm,
They're not doing crimes and then
mhm.
getting a facial and then going committing a crime.
It's a
They
fact.
care about themselves.
Right.
They care about their families, they care about their environments, the people around them. And so being educated on ways to help yourself so that you can help others that come after you, I think is just really important. And I appreciate when like a teenage boy reaches out and says, hey, so I got acne and I don't like it and I don't know what to do about it. And I'm like, okay, well, let's have a, consultation and let's see what's going on. Because all those like insecurities and certain things start when you're young. And if you don't deal with it when you're young, it will always be an issue.
Mm,
And it's like you put a band-aid on it and you'll just keep putting a band-aid on it for the rest of your life. And that goes into the whole mental health aspect of, this putting a little seal over it and dealing with it later. But over time, it just builds up, builds up, builds up. And then, it causes bigger issues in your life,
mm.
insecurities. And it having maybe not the best skin at times, acne can really cause self-esteem issues. It really can. And that can also cause, well, when you have insecurities, you feel less of yourself. You don't really strive to want more in life. You are content with not being in, certain crowds. You now maybe have um, all types of things that come about when we don't feel our best. And I'm open to educating and teaching my clients in whatever way possible to get them just on the best track, to be their best selves. You know,
Nah, and I was just thinking, I'm like, man, Kiki got
who
so
don't want to
much
look good?
information in this episode. And this is gonna be the 387 grooming episode, and we're gonna get the
Okay.
Kiki episode at a later date. Like we gotta come
Okay.
back
Yeah.
and we gonna come back and get it because I feel like you dropping so many gems when it comes to just how to connecting between like self-care and self-esteem and mental health
Mhm.
and how they play a part with one another, because it really is when you look good, you feel good. Like that's like, I don't know, like it used to sound vain back in the day, but
Mm-mm.
it really is like you look good. I used to get on my girl about it sometimes, like, why are you
Mhm.
dressing up? And she like,
Oh,
it's for me. Like
yeah.
I want to feel good. And I'm like, no, you trying to show off to somebody else. It's like, no, it's
Uh-huh.
literally because I want to feel good. And I
Yeah.
never put that importance into myself.
Yeah. It is, and that's the thing. And because I hear it so often from my clients, it's been like all constantly, like often playing in my head that men were either raised or society paints this picture that as a man, and mainly I would say in the Black community, that these things that facials, massages, all these things, all these products and stuff like that, those are for women. It's not for men. Men, you get very seldom can you find a especially in stores, products, a whole section, of products for men. It's very rare. I've worked in the retail and I've seen it have a whole section, small, but dwindle down little by little because men were not coming in to buy the product. So it just went to being online. And that's not okay.
Right.
Like, it's totally not okay that men um, are not given the opportunity, I feel as though, as much as women, to take care of themselves. That they're supposed to say, oh, here, just use this 3-in-1. No, why is it okay for him to wash his face, wash his body and his hair with this
Ooh,
one product?
ooh.
I don't
I
like
never even
that.
thought about that. And I buy the 3-in-1 too.
Yeah,
Like
because
well, my
it's
wife got all
easier.
these separate products for
Yes,
everything.
exactly. And I get it. Like, I get it. Men want things very simple, and I was mindful of that. So I made sure that my skincare line, there's cleanser, there's an exfoliator, and there's a moisturizer. 3 products, the trio. That's it. So it's not like, you have to have a counter full of products, which I know is very intimidating for men.
It is.
They see all these products, all these different things. You got an eye cream, a
It
lip
is.
scrub,
Mm-hmm.
something over here for anti-aging, and it becomes intimidating. Men are very,
Overwhelming.
very simple men, straight to the
Mm-hmm.
point. And when you realize that, it's like you can still cater to men, but you don't have to tell him that this one bottle is going to do it all. Because because what if I'm washing my hair? I don't really think that should be on my face. This is different skin, It's 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 not the same.
Mm.
And I've realized that society paints that picture for men to think that one size fits all, just take this one bottle, that's it. You go about your business. It's a $1 billion industry based off of what it does for women. All the entities of the beauty industry all direct towards women's needs.
Mm.
And I just want to paint a different picture for the men in my community so that they know that you too should be taken care of. And, you may work 2 jobs, you going to school, family, or whatever it is to take care of your household. There should be a place for you also, like, because where else do you go besides a barbershop? If you even go to a barbershop, I have clients who are bald or clients who, like you, have locks. Maybe they don't get a shape up. Maybe
I
they don't,
don't. I'm
get,
one of them. I don't.
yeah. And so, you don't have that barbershop experience anymore, which for men is also one of the only places sometimes for them to get together, to talk, to be around other men in that type of environment. Um, Maybe outside of like something religious, church or the mosque or something. But that's the really only place that men are really given to come together. And I learned that during the pandemic. It made me like really focus in on that because
Mm,
things were closed and women were freaking out because they have so many different places that they go to. They get lashes, they get massage, they
mm,
get wax, they get hair, nails. All these places were closed. And men were like, well, I just really wish I could go to the barbershop and just talk with the guys or, just be in that environment. And they didn't have that. And I kept thinking, wow, so that's all they really have is a barbershop. And we got our best friend is the nail lady and the girl who does our lashes, she know all our business.
mm,
And because that was me, I was that person for them, for my clients, for my female clients. They, oh, Kiki, I miss you so much. I can't wait till this pandemic, this thing is over so I can come talk to you and fill you in about life. For them, it was a therapy session.
mm,
For my male clients, it's the same. But that's when I realized that there should be a place for men too, not
mm.
just a barbershop. And I had to switch up the dynamic, switch
I'm
it
I-
up completely.
I'm thinking about the they even just going somewhere with my wife. I've been in there in these spaces and they just don't look like they're for men, like they're men accepting.
No.
As much as they say they'll like, yeah, men can come here too. It just looks like it's for women to come in, which it probably is predominantly. And so I'm thinking about all of those people, those places where they can't. How do you get a kiki in your city if it's not, if it's not available to you? Like if I'm in, I'm sure in the major like California, Miami, like those type of places, but for the most part, I don't have access to this if I'm in the middle of somewhere. I still have to figure this out on my own. Like what to
Yeah.
that you say what?
I really feel as though like that needs to be something that the beauty industry kind of starts to break barriers with, that estheticians, or just these businesses, it doesn't have to always be a flower wall. It could just be something very simple that is inclusive for everyone and inviting to everyone. I've sat in the nail salons and I've seen men come in and be completely discouraged and walk
Mm-hmm.
right out. And I feel for him because I'm like, the poor man just may want a manicure or a pedicure, and he's hearing gossip going on, chattering going on. There's certain type of music playing that's not soothing, and he just might want a soothing experience. I really do feel like more people in this beauty industry should create businesses that are inclusive for everyone, for men and women. And it really can be something as simple as just a decor, something as the lighting, certain things that just make another person feel like they are invited, and not excluded. And I would hope that more people have that in mind, um, versus not thinking for self and more for others. Um, I was in Miami and for 9 years, and that's where I went to beauty school, and where the whole idea and of 387 came about. But I knew that I did not want my business there. I
Mm,
also knew that a lot of men were more inclined to uh, going to get a facial or a massage or something, um, at a spa or somewhere where women go because of the cultural differences. Um, so I knew that my business was needed in a place, home, but also knew
mm,
that it was needed in a place where men were not seeing it everywhere, where it was not something that was on every corner. In Miami, it's on every corner, a spa, day spa, med spa, whatever. And there are a lot of men who culturally may have been raised. There's a lot of Europeans. There are some men from like the islands, more Hispanic culture, where they are open to going to a spa. They're open to going with their girlfriends and being in a robe all day. For them, it's no issue of like masculinity. Europeans, there's no issue with that. They, carry man purses and stuff. And some men of color like, you ain't gonna catch me with that on. And based off of cultural differences, they are more inclined to go to a nail salon and sit there around other women and not be embarrassed of how their feet may look. You know, that's not for all cultures. And that's when I realized that I wanted to come home and create the business, because I knew it was targeted towards a community who was not yet open to it being something that was for them. And so once you create it for them, then they realize, oh, it's for me and I can go to this place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really do wish that more people thought about the needs of men, especially Black men. Um, because we can't sit back and just say, you know, that society has painted this picture of the Black man, and think that there's nothing we can do about it. You know, I'm not going to sit there and watch the news all the time and see police brutality and see men being killed on the news. They're being a target on their back, and then not feeling like there's something that I could do to, one, just help encourage men feeling better about themselves. And though it may be something very small, to some, I do feel like it allows my clients to, one, be more vulnerable in their life. I love when my clients can have a conversation with me and then send me a message later and say, I really want to go see a therapist now because I felt so comfortable with talking to you today. And I feel like I can talk to another stranger, talk to a complete stranger, you know? And then, of course, you know, how I also came about the whole thing, you know, on the Black Men Heal podcast on the Breakfast Club, you know, how all of that kind of just all came together for me. But people need to think about the mental health and the mental health of men, of Black men, and understand what they can do to help them. It's not always about money, you know, it's not about money. It's not.
Yeah, you actually tied into a lot of the things that I was going to ask, and you
Uh,
tied it up really, really good. So I got one final question.
okay.
And I kind of know, I don't know. Let me not say that. What would you say to men? Again, we got to come back again because I want to get your personal story, and have the conversation about that, because I know, and I wanted to be mindful of that too, because especially when you said you didn't really want to talk about it now. So whenever you're ready, we'll discuss. It took
Okay.
us, I don't even know if it's how long it take us to get this one in, but
Oh my God,
whatever.
I know. That's
I was
almost
supposed
a
to be in your
year.
studio recording this right now,
Yeah,
but
yes. You know, almost a year, about 9 months.
yeah, right. But what do you say to those straight men? And I think about the young brothers all the time, where they think it's for gay men or it's for women. What do you say to those young, I'll say Philly term, what do you say to them young
Yeah.
bulls that don't, they like, yo, man, I'm not even on that type of time. That's for them. I'm over here doing my thing. What do you say to them?
Well, I constantly have to remind them that when you take care of yourself, your sexuality has nothing to do with it. You know, your sexuality has nothing to do with you wanting to look good or to feel better about yourself. It's solely about what it makes you feel, how you feel after it. Um, and sometimes based off of the conversations that I have, I know how to kind of work with where they are mentally, meeting them where they are mentally. And so I think initially they are attracted to the idea of trying something different. They
Mm-hmm.
see it and they're like, oh, this looks cool, whatever. And I have clients with tattoos on their face and tattoos on their neck. And when they see these pictures and they see these guys, they're like, oh, okay, this looks like me, you know,
Right.
or they gravitate to it. And I'm so grateful that my clients um, all look different, because there's someone who's going to say, oh, he went, he looked like me, he looked like my friends, he liked the people I hang out with. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I can go to a place like that too. But I constantly have to remind them that when you just want to look good and you want to feel good, there's nothing there that's going to connect your sexuality. It doesn't make you less of a man because you want to have cleaner nails, or it doesn't make you It doesn't make you a man by having acne, neither, or skin that's not healthy. Doesn't make you masculine at all. Dirt underneath your nails does not solidify you as a man at all. And once they get past that,
I feel attacked.
no, no, but no, if you see your nails and you're like, you know what, these things look a little dirty. You know what? Let me go take care of this real quick. But that don't make you less of a man because your nails are cleaner. You know that you're a man. Your sons know that you're a man. Your wife knows that you are a man. And so society again has made it paint out that picture that a man's supposed to have rough hands. He's supposed to look rugged.
Calluses on him and everything.
Well, you don't have to. Because then you think about the woman. If this is a straight man, I will say, do you think that girl wants you touching her with
Not
those
at
dirty
all.
nails? Or kissing her with that I almost said nappy beard. Sometimes I gotta say that.
Ungroomed beard.
Ungroomed beard. You think she wants you kissing her with those dry lips or those that skin not taking care of her? And like, no. And so depending on where they are mentally, I meet them. I have a client, he's in the streets, and he said to me, I really started to realize that I want to take my business, his illegal business, to the next level. And as he said that he knows he's going to be dealing with people who are on another level than the people that he hangs out with. And he said, I know I got to come correct when I'm in these rooms. And I said, so did you feel as though getting facials? He said, these men been getting facials. They take care of themselves. He's like, massages, they got somebody come to their house to do a massage once a week. He's like, I'm not doing any of this. So if I want to get on their level, I got to start doing things that they do. And so it's meeting the client where they are mentally so they understand that it has nothing to do with sexuality. It's if you admire this person and what they're doing, you kind of want to emulate some of those things also. And then it becomes like a whole cycle. You realize how you feel after you get a facial or after you get a massage or just speaking to a therapist, how it feels. And so you become more vulnerable, but then you also become a better person through it all also. So getting a facial, taking some time for yourself, self-care has nothing to do with sexuality. Like, bad boy.
That might actually be the title of this podcast. Self-care has nothing to do with sexuality.
That's a good one. I like it. You see how that just organically happened?
Yes. And on that note, please make sure y'all go buy some product. I'm picking my product in person. And Kiki, you got to send me an advertisement to put on the podcast so that way people can know like where to buy the products and everything like that. Probably like a 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute. I'll place it in here so that way people can know where to grab it. And please remember, go subscribe, share this with somebody, share this with a guy, share this with some men, some black men, share this out there. So not only that we can get some products into our community, but also just changing and reframing the mindset around self-care within our community. And it not just only being for women and how men is necessary and needed for men. And on that note, please remember to subscribe to the podcast. And remember that this platform has never been about being a replacement to therapy. It's an alternative place where people share therapeutic stories. Thank you for listening.